All right, I've gone through all 6 Mission Impossible movies to bring me to this one, number 7. And you guys. So, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is the new film directed by Christopher McQuarrie, starring Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt. The 7th installment of this franchise. Who would have thought they would have gotten this far? But we're here. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this is a very, 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 very good film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's so much fun. I recommend people see this thing in IMAX. I think it's got a lot of great spectacle, and it's the sound mixing in this is absolutely insanely good. So I would recommend that. So your summary for this film, without spoiling anything, this is a spoiler-free review, guys, so bear with me because there's a lot that happens in this movie. But essentially, Ethan Hunt again has to go rogue in order to obtain a couple of items that lead to something that nobody knows what it goes to. But whatever it is, all these countries in the world are trying to get to it. At the same time, he's going up against an enemy unlike anything he's ever faced before. And there are people or someone from his past that show back up in opposition to him in order to retrieve it for themselves. And along the way, he teams up with Hayley Atwell's character Grace, a new addition to the franchise. And the clock is ticking to keep this item out of the hands of other governments that probably shouldn't get their hands on this. So that is a very light roundabout way of telling you what the story is, because like I said, there's so much here. It is a part 1 of a 2-part story, and I will say at least up front that by the time you get done with this film, and this isn't really a spoiler, it doesn't feel like Fast X's cliffhanger ending. I feel like it feels like a whole complete movie in and of itself, but also does feel like a part 1 of a story. Like you reach the middle part of the story and the film's done. I won't say what happens there, but I'll just say, look, it doesn't leave you like, what the heck was that, like Fast X did. No offense to people who like Fast X, and I know my brother-in-law was into Fast X, but I digress. Tom Cruise absolutely kills it. I think, having Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames come back, great playing their characters alongside him, and I think their chemistry is at an all-time high in this one. They have great banter. Their scenes together are awesome. I dug every second of it. Rebecca Ferguson comes back. She's great in this. Then you got newcomer, like I said, Hayley Atwell comes in as Grace. Hayley Atwell was awesome in this. I dug her a lot. She was a great addition. I liked having her in this film. You have a character named Gabriel, played by Isaiah Morales, who is pretty menacing. I think there's room for his character to grow if he comes back in the sequel. He's a character from Ethan's past. What exactly, we get a little bit of information on, not a whole lot, but he's very interesting, and his role in the story is very fascinating to me. He plays kind of this, I won't say a curator, but he's kind of a disciple of a manner of speaking to something that I don't want to spoil. So it's very interesting, his role in this. And then you got Pom Clementif, who plays Mantis in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. She comes in as this assassin, and very Harley Quinn / Joker-esque, because she doesn't really have a whole lot of dialogue, but she gets a lot of action scenes, and I think she absolutely crushes it. I think she is awesome in this film. You got like Vanessa Kirby back in this, who's awesome. So this is probably one of the best cast they've assembled, and the best acting of a Mission Impossible cast. I think from top to bottom, everybody absolutely does a fantastic job. It's a well-acted film. I think Christopher McQuarrie ramps the action up a bit, and I think the story's really engaging, and it might be the best of the whole series so far. And the pacing, I'll tell you this, the movie is about 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's a long movie, but to this film's credit, I at least didn't feel that length until maybe the last act of the film for just a little bit, because they will, for every 5 minutes that you get a little bit of like breathing room, you're right back into another action sequence. I don't know how they did it. Like, there's that action sequence of them driving cars, and what bugged me when we saw her screening was they played, and I hate that they do this at these special screenings, they showed us like behind the scenes of a couple of parts they do in the movie, One of them is this chase scene. And I was like, why are you showing me this? I'm here to watch the movie. Stop spoiling stuff. I'm ready to go. But what's interesting is Tom Cruise does this whole driving sequence with Hayley Atwell, and they're handcuffed together. So they're doing one-handed driving, and they say Tom Cruise did it for real. So I'm impressed. I don't know how this guy keeps doing it. And then, you got his motorcycle stunt, which you see all over the marketing. They covered it. And to be honest with you, a little let down by that, only because it's in the movie at a certain point where I was like, well, of course this has to happen now. Like, I've been waiting all movie for it, and here it is. And I'm not going to say it was a bad sequence. It's not a bad sequence, but I was just a little like, oh, okay, that's all he had to do. I thought there'd be a little more to this scene, front and back, but hey, it's fine. Like, I think it's a good stunt. He did it for real, so that's still pretty cool. He does a lot of interesting stuff in this, but there is an action sequence in the third act that totally tops this, involving a train, and holy smokes, that was just, what a way to end that film. Towards the ending with this train sequence, it's just absolutely masterfully done. And I left the film thinking I didn't know if this would be able to top any other films, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is the best Mission Impossible film they've done. It's my favorite, that's for sure. While I think like 4, 5, and 6 are all, like I'd said in previous reviews, they're all like really close together. This one, I think, finally, there's a little bit of a gap. There's those 3, and then there's this one. So this film, if the next one is as good, if not better than this film, we're in for something special, because they absolutely crushed it with this one. I had a great time. I thought, everything kind of worked for this movie. It'll come down to you, and if you are as into the pacing as I was, because like I said, pacing is really, really great. Little bit towards the end where you start to feel it, and I think they kind of lose that pacing, but then they pick it right back up. It's like a little bit of a lull. It's not a long lull till they get back into things and they ramp out to the finale of the film. So this is a great time. I recommend seeing it. If you're into action, this is the film for you. If you've never seen a film in this franchise, go see it. This is the best one in my opinion. It's a lot of fun. It's got comedy. It's got action. It's got stakes. It's all there for you. And I can't wait to hear what other people think of this, because I was texting my friend who was seeing a screening up in a different city at the same time as me, and we both dug this a lot. So I want to know what you guys think. So yeah, I'm going to be giving this film an A-. Yeah, I know, all that praise to say A-. Now, hear me out. It almost got to an A. It's razor thin where it landed and where I would give it an A. And I'm knocking it only because of the pacing. I think there are so many performers in the film, it was hard to really give them all like stellar like marks, but everybody does great in this film. So I think if they can pull out just as good of a story, if they can make that pacing just as good as in this one and a little bit better, who knows if the next one will finally get to that A status. But I still think at an A-, a high A-, I might add, this is a great film, the best of the franchise so far. So yeah, what do you guys think? Leave those comments down in the comments below if you've seen this film. Very curious what other people think. I'm sure other people might even grade this higher than me, but that's fine. Where I'm sitting, it was just right on that razor's edge of getting to an A. I just couldn't quite get there. Maybe a second viewing would change that. I would definitely see this again in a theater, I think. If somebody asked me to go see it, I definitely would. But yeah. Anyway, guys, if you could please hit that like button, subscribe button, the little bell notification to be notified whenever I drop new videos, it would be greatly appreciated. And that's it. That's all 7 Mission Impossible movies in like the span of a week. I'm exhausted. Luckily, this film comes out on a Wednesday. There's not really much else coming out this week that I'm aware of or interested in, so I'm going to take a nice little break from doing some reviews for a little bit. And I don't know what the next one is I'm planning on doing, but until then, guys, I'll be seeing you.